Hey guys, did you miss me? Hope you had a good long weekend if you're watching this on the day that I updated, or whatever day you're watching this. But it is Tuesday at 5:04. Just got out. Pretty good day if you were curious, at the office. Pretty busy, which is always nice. Ran into a few challenges, so felt a little dumb in the moment, but as always, in reality, I actually got better and got a little smarter, so it's all good at the end of the day. But yeah, kind of forgot that it was Tuesday until midday, which I think is honestly a pretty common thing for those kind of weird cases where it's a long weekend and you come back on not a Monday. So, yeah, I guess I was just a human being of that. But yeah, so I am a little curious as to how traffic's going to look today and how long this video is going to actually be. Because we're just going to have to find out as time goes. But not really too much left to update you guys on. Good long weekend. Again, hope yours was good as well. But we're back. We are back making these. Couple things that I either thought about or happened to me today that I thought would be good to talk about. So I guess the first thing to talk about is on my drive to work. So if I haven't made it clear enough, when I make these videos, I'm on my way home from work, going from work to my lovely home. And when I go to or from my lovely home to work, my lovely office, I guess, I listen to podcasts. Normally I would just listen to whatever music I felt like listening to at the moment, but started just listening to podcasts and really like it, so I just keep doing it. So that's my thing for the time being, is on my way to work, I just throw on a podcast for however long my drive to work is. Normally it's only around like 20 minutes. So yeah, and I'm listening to this podcast, and this person that I'm listening to is promoting their personal brand, their personal business, and they're promoting it, and then they throw out this sentence, or I don't know if you want to call it more of a statement, but they threw out this series of words. And what they said was the two main questions in everyone's life is, who am I and what am I doing here? They said those are the two main questions of everyone's life. And I made it a point to put a little pin in that and remember it. I think it's a great point to make, and it reminded me a lot of, if you saw Friday's video, I talked a lot about what I believe the two main missions of your life to be, and that's to find self and find truth. And I think that relates a lot to what I was kind of trying to get on about on Friday's video. Was this person in the podcast said that the two main questions of everyone's life is always, who am I and what am I doing here? And I kind of instantly just made the connection to find self, find truth. And it reminds me of this other thing that I heard, when was it? It was actually today. Now that I think of it, it was actually today. I heard this thing, and it was this idea that this guy had that has become pretty popular to people who follow this person. And his idea is that, kind of similar to the whole, who am I? What am I doing here? Find truth, find self. This person was saying that the meaning of life is to give life meaning, in short. So I thought that was really cool as well. And again, I'm not going to delve too deep into it, but I think there's a lot of connections between the three things that I've just mentioned in the past few minutes. So again, it brings me back to Friday's video that I'm just now realizing that there can be a million, in this case there's three, but in reality there can be a million different things being said, and you can take that as far as you want, but at the very core, I think if you really take a second to detach and look at things from afar, a non-biased viewpoint, that even with all the different things being said, no matter what the subject or the topic is, they always find themselves really to be the same at the very end of the day. At the very core, they're all kind of agreeing on the same thing. So that's kind of what I liked about this little thing that I heard on my drive to work this morning was, the two main questions of everyone's life is always, who am I and what am I doing here? The two main missions of your life should be to find self and find truth. And that the meaning of life is to give life meaning. I like that a lot. I think they're all kind of getting down to the very same thing at the core of it all, which I think is really cool. I also had this thought after watching back last Friday's video when I was saying find self, find truth, and how I described it as two main missions in your life. Another thought that I kind of got from that was kind of, it was very, I don't want to say it was very different, but it was different from kind of what I had been dragging on for over 30 minutes on Friday's video, which I know I keep mentioning it. If it pokes any curiosity in your head as to what else I said, or just what went on in that video, go check it out. It's a pretty good video. I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, so when I was talking about the whole find self, find truth, what occurred to me after making the video and watching it back was that you can kind of take it in a different direction, that once you find self, you therefore find truth. So I don't really have too much to expand off from that. I kind of just want to leave that here. Maybe have you have a go with it, ponder about it for a little bit, but yeah, it's a cool little thing because you can interpret it in different ways, and that happened to me clearly. I didn't realize it when I was filming Friday's video, but I realized it after, and I thought it was pretty cool. So you can take it as the main missions in your life is to, and I know I'm repeating this a bunch of times, but main missions of your life are to find self and find truth. But you could also look at it like, once you find self, you therefore find truth in a way. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave all that there, and I'm gonna move on to the next thing that I want to talk about today. This thing also happened on my drive to work, and so when I'm driving to work, it goes from driving on local roads to getting on the highway for a couple minutes, back to local roads to the office that I work. And when I'm getting off the highway, you get off the highway, it takes you into like a different lane, like a ramp, and it kind of has to do this like big like U-turn, and then the ramp going from the U-turn back to local roads, it puts you on this like main road. And so the way that it spits you out is that it spits you out onto this single lane main road. So there's the road, there's the road, and then there's the ramp that it's putting you on. So you have to merge. It goes pretty much from two separate lanes into one single lane. And for me, with the lane that I always find myself in getting off the highway, there's a yield sign. That the opposite lane that I'm merging into has the right of way. I have a yield sign. I have to yield if there's any oncoming traffic. So I'm coming off the ramp, and it's slowly just putting me into the single lane main road that I'm supposed to merge onto, and there's a line of cars coming. So I'm obeying the yield sign, and I'm waiting for the line of cars to get past me, waiting for an opening, so then I can merge without crashing, without there being an accident. And and so I'm waiting, and I'm waiting for the line of cars to pass in the other lane, and apparently so I was trying to be nice and be patient and be like a good driver, I guess, and wait my turn. And this lady in the other lane, I hope this is all making sense. I know I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit, but this lady in the other lane, the lane that I'm trying to get into, decides to also be a good person. And so she stops. She's in the right of way lane, and she stops, and there's cars behind her, and she stops so she can let me in. And I didn't really notice what she was doing. She was in like a weird spot, kind of in like a blind spot. So I couldn't really see what she was doing. I guess I was just waiting for her to pass, and she had stopped for a second or two, and I still hadn't done anything. And she honked at me. And so I look over, I look back, and this lady, she's honking at me, and I look over at her, and I can see that she's very angry with me. It doesn't take a genius who's in another car from someone to just look at their facial expression and see how their mouth is moving. Pause. But I look over at her, and she's very clearly honking and yelling at me to go. That's what she was saying. That's the words that I read from her lips. She was saying go, and she was saying go in a very loud and aggressive manner. Again, it's pretty easy to tell when someone's doing that. And honestly, my response was I laughed. I laughed and I went. I went in front of her. And looking back, I kind of feel bad a little bit for laughing. I think it's definitely a better reaction than getting all angry and whatnot in response. But I do kind of feel bad for laughing, because as far as I know, she could have just had the worst morning possible, and she's already all stressed out and freaking out in her own head, and here I am being a little slow to recognize the whole situation that's happening, and she just happened to unleash her stress on me. So I do kind of feel bad, because again, you never know what someone's actually going through. You never actually know anyone in their lives and all that stuff. So I do kind of feel bad for laughing. But again, I do think that it's a better reaction than say not laughing and instead honking back and yelling back at this lady, or maybe flipping her off or doing some negative thing towards her in retaliation, in revenge. But yeah, it kind of reminded me, that whole story, of this one concept that I heard a while back. And so, in the moment, there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of factors at play, with the lady losing her temper and, what's the word? And her composure at me, and, resulting in honking and yelling at me. She was under tension, she was being squeezed in a way. And as was I. I was under a somewhat different tension, but I was still under a tension in the moment, and I was also being squeezed. And what I'm trying to get to with this story is that it relates to this one concept that I heard. And this guy was saying how when you squeeze, say, an orange, right? You put an orange under tension, under pressure, and you squeeze the orange. What comes out of the orange? Orange juice. That's what comes out of the orange when you squeeze it. When you put it under tension, you get orange juice. And he went on to ask the audience he was speaking to of what happens when you take, say, a human or yourself, and you put them under tension and you put them under pressure, and you, again, in a way, you squeeze them. I need two hands on the wheel because I'm turning, but you squeeze them. The answer he's not really looking for, he doesn't want to hear you say human juice, because that's not the right answer, and it's honestly kind of gross. But what he's trying to get at is that when you are put under pressure and you're in times of tension and you're surrounded by chaos and things aren't going perfect, they're kind of out of your control and they're not as you want them to be, and you're being squeezed, right? How are you going to respond, and what attitude and what emotion and what kind of energy are you going to give out? Are you going to give out energy of anger and frustration or sadness or any other negative thing? Or are you going to give out energy of positivity and love and compassion and hope, and in my case, laughter? So yeah, that's kind of his whole concept. It's kind of like that orange juice versus human juice in a way. So I think that was something that was pretty cool to hear, and I kind of realized that it applied directly to me during that scenario driving to work. So I guess the lesson to learn from that is whenever you're put in any difficult spot, you're going through any difficult time, think about oranges and orange juice, and what kind of what kind of juice are you going to produce? This sounds really weird, but what kind of juice are you going to produce? What kind of energy are you going to give out when you're put under any pressure or tension or anything like that? So yeah, I think I'm pretty good with that. And actually I'm not. So going back, I think the part of the reason, or a big reason I should say, is why I decided to laugh in the moment was because I knew that even though, say, I wasn't perfect in this scenario, that I didn't recognize what she was doing fast enough, and I guess moving forward and going into the lane in front of her, I didn't recognize and take action of that fast enough, which resulted in me being honked and yelled at. The reason I laughed was because I knew that what I did really wasn't that wrong and really didn't even matter at the end of the day. I'm not trying to make this whole story about, like, I'm the victim here, this lady this crazy lady honked and yelled at me, and I'm totally innocent. I easily could have played an equal part of the confusion and the incident that occurred because of it. It could equally be my fault, and it probably is. But the point that I'm making with this continued story is that the reason why I decided to laugh more than anything else really was because I knew that what I was doing likely was not wrong, and it really, more than that, it just didn't really matter that much. It wasn't that important. There's a story that kind of connects to this that I heard, again, a while back. You're getting a lot of stories out of me today, so consider yourself lucky, I guess. But the story goes, there's a guy walking down the street. He's walking downtown, wherever downtown is. He's walking downtown, and he has this pair of white socks on. And he's walking, he's minding his own business, and this random guy he doesn't know, this total stranger, comes up to him. And he comes up to the guy wearing white socks, and he comes up to him, he's very angry. He stops in front of him, he points at his socks, and he goes, "I hate your orange socks." So, the guy's like, the guy doesn't get mad. He doesn't react. He's like, "What?" He's like, "These are white socks. These aren't orange socks. These are white socks. I'm not gonna get mad at what you just said and did to me because it's not true and it doesn't really matter." And I think that, say, if you switch up the scenario and say that this guy is just walking down the road downtown, same guy comes up to him and just comes up to him and stops right in front of him, points at him and says, "I think you're stupid." You would kind of expect the guy with the white socks to have a much different reaction, right? Because now this is made personal. But really, the reality is it's exactly the same. The guy was wearing white socks, and this other guy came up to him and said he hates his white socks, but the guy doesn't let it bother him because he knows that he's not wearing orange socks. He knows that's not true. He knows he's wearing white socks, so he doesn't let it bother him. And now this guy comes up to him and says that he thinks he's stupid. But again, the guy doesn't let it bother him because he knows that he's not stupid. He knows deep down that he's not stupid. So he's not going to listen to this guy and let him bring him down when really all he's doing is getting in his face and being loud and yelling at him that he's yelling at him about something that just isn't true whatsoever. So again, I think that you can learn a lot from that little thing I just gave you guys. I guess to better handle your emotions and where to put your attention and energy, and really decide what truly matters and what doesn't when it comes to people having opinions on you or judging you or really anything kind of related to that. So that's something that I kind of like to think about, especially with what happened today. So you got two stories out of that one story. You got the whole orange juice versus people juice, and you got the whole white socks versus orange socks. All right, a little bit of confusion going on here. No one honked at me though, so we're all good. But yeah, so I guess there was one more thing that I thought would be cool to talk about today. Pretty good video so far. So yeah, one more thing I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about today. This was something that I've kind of been chewing on all long weekend, and I've made some good progress with my thoughts, and I think it's it's good to say that even though I've made a lot of progress with my thoughts around this so far, like they're still not finished yet. My thoughts still aren't complete around this, and it's very likely that, you know, say what I say to you guys today, my thoughts could differ and change tomorrow. I think that's totally natural with anyone, and I think it's a good thing at that. So what I was kind of thinking and chewing on all weekend was, I was thinking about how there's so many things in life to do and to experience and to have, and I was thinking that it's really unfair how only a very certain amount of people get to live the highest quality of life and experience the best things and have the greatest things and all that stuff. There's only very few people in this world, unfortunately, who really get to live the most quality of life as you can possibly have. And I was thinking, I was like, that didn't seem fair to me. It didn't seem right. I felt like everyone in life, no matter who you are, should be able to have the same amount of access to all of the greatest things that life possibly has to offer. And I was saying to myself in the moment that it's very unfair and it's not right, and that everyone should have equal access to the greatest things in life. And so that's how I felt, I guess, on day one of thinking about this stuff, and came back, and in day two I kind of realized that you know, everyone does, at least in the society that I live in, and likely that you guys live in today, is that while you may not exactly realize it, that everyone does have the same access to all of the greatest things about life. Everyone does have equal access if you kind of really think about it. Some people may have it a lot easier than others. In fact, they probably do have a lot easier than others. But at the very end of the day, everyone does have the same access to the greatest things in life and the highest quality of life as everyone else. And really, it's just a matter of the few very important things that you do on a consistent basis. And I think a big part of that is the thoughts that you have in your head, the quality of your thoughts, and how powerful your thoughts are. I gotta try to wrap this up a little quick because I'm almost home. But I'm actually gonna wait again. There's another car coming. I don't want to beep at me. But yeah, you may think that, say, you feel like you don't have the same opportunities and the same quality of life as other people that you may know or know of. But the reality is, and I really mean this in the best way possible, is that you're wrong. You know, you really do have the same amount of opportunity, the same amount of access to the highest quality of life. You just have to kind of open your eyes and open your mind, especially, to all that stuff. You really do deserve to live the greatest quality of life you can ever possibly imagine, and you really do have access to all those great things. What you just have to do, if you're not as fortunate as other people, is believe that, and when I say believe, I mean truly believe, truly deep down in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, believe that you are worthy of every single great thing that life has to offer, and the highest quality life that you can live. I messed up a little bit. Give me 1 second. You really do have to believe that. And from there, you have to, again, instill that belief as a core in your heart, in your mind, in your soul. And from there, kind of, in a way, rewire your mind, and specifically your subconscious mind, into instilling in yourself the correct thought processes and habits and behaviors and all that stuff. And again, this is something that I'm still discovering a lot about myself, so I'm learning a little more about it every day. But really just slowly learning and understanding the little things that really make the difference at the end of the day in achieving the highest quality of life and the life that you wish to live for yourself. And learning those things and applying them on a consistent basis, I think, is what it all comes down to. So kind of just ran out of the thought that I was having, which is fine because I'm sitting in my driveway now. But yeah, good video today. Hope I planted some seeds of thought in your mind. Again, hope you guys had a good long weekend. Remember that there's a lot more to it than you think. And don't hesitate to reach out with any questions or suggestions or anything that you have for me. And yeah. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.